Good afternoon. Welcome to Dr. Money Live. We have a special production today. I'm coming to you live from Jamaica, where I'm going to be having a conversation with Claude Big Stone Sinclair, a legend in Jamaica. He's going to talk to us and tell us everything from the Jamaican view. I'm going to share with you more about 420 Wellness Jamaica's first annual Black in Jamaica, which is the virtual conference and festival that happens on Saturday, February 27th. We're going to have education, empowerment, and entertainment brought to you by a wide variety of not only Jamaican artists, but we have an artist that came all the way from California, celebrity artist Kid Holder, who's performing on the lineup as well. We have Jah Cutta, we have Prophecy, we have Money Pallet, we have Baroon Baker talking about developed digitally. We have Dr. Aubrey Oliver talking about taking your health black. We have Dr. Theon Gordon sharing an empowering message. We have many Fox. So we have a list of talent that's going to contribute to an amazing day. But before we get to that amazing day, I want to jump into a conversation with Big Stone. So Big Stone, how you doing today?
Well, I'm very fine, and thank you so much for having me.
Oh, it's my honor to have you. You know, when you start running around Jamaica, folks start telling you who you have to connect with. And not only who you have to connect with, but when you have to connect with them.
Well, I'm so honored to be in such a prestigious category. You know,
Yeah.
small that category, the real people, because real recognizes real instantaneously. And I recognize you, Dr. Audrey, as real. So I'm here.
Well, thank you. I've been in love with the island for over 20 years coming back. People keep asking me if I have roots. I said, I haven't even had time to search that, but I'm here. So how about that?
Welcome home, I can say,
That's what I say, And so really what happened for me was on one of my many trips. I came last year basically to work remotely during this global pandemic. And I found myself in a situation. I started out in Freeport. The aim was to be here a month. Then I extended it to 6 weeks. Then I was like, I need to go to Negril for at least 2 more weeks. We get to Negril for 2 weeks. And after that, the lady I was traveling with, she left. I stayed for another month because I still wasn't ready. So I couldn't get enough. I couldn't get enough. And as soon as I got home, all I was doing was working on how I could get back. So that just says how much, I saw the need and I saw the desire. And it was really, I think at this time, we are going through a global pandemic where people are aware of their health. And when they start thinking about their health, then they start to think about nutrition. And so for me, I immediately correlated that with the farmers, the Jamaican farmers, who are also hard hit by this pandemic. And I didn't hear anybody talking about what they were doing to seed them, to help to take their harvest and help them diversify and be able to address wider markets. And all of these things, when you talk about pivoting somebody's business, requires resources, and sometimes what a lot of people have are resources, sometimes resources that they take for granted because there's so much waste. And so I thought if I could bring my loud voice to the island, and if I could come and connect with some locals, maybe we could shake a tree and we could shake loose some resources that would begin to contribute to the possibility for the farmers. Because I believe if we shore up the farmers, not only can we feed the island, this nation, but we can contribute to feeding the world.
Well, first thing first, I'm so happy that you're here with a loud voice because we have been making a lot of noise for the last 25 going on 30 years. The noise that I have been making is towards our farmers because food is life, and how they're treated how the government treat farmers in Jamaica. They'll import stuff from overseas, bring it into the country that is already grown in Jamaica. I can't understand that. Or would you want to import into the country carrots, onions, sweet tomatoes and stuff like that we grow, so that when these things do happen, the farmer end up with a glut, and they're there with the food wasting. There's nobody to pay any money for their food, and they become frustrated. It has happened all the time, not just with food, but with artwork, with jewelry, with craft. A lot of people has been suffering. What they do is they create this monopoly, right? Where they have the hotel industry. They are the one that is catering exclusively to these tourists. We have natives. I've not seen a tourist walk in the street of Kingston in the longest time. They don't exist, because once they come to Jamaica and get within them four walls, everything is made available to them. Foreign provisions are made available, pineapples, mangoes, etc. These all come from overseas to these hotels, and we grow these crops here. Even the souvenir, what they do is they go into these communities, because these crafters are not selling their craft, then they buy it from them for little or nothing and take it back into the hotel and sell it for this enormous price. So I'm totally one of the biggest mouths when it comes to our people in Jamaica and how they're being abused and treated by, quote unquote, the government and some other people.
Exactly. Well, that's exactly what I noticed. And as a businesswoman, having, as I said, over the course of my career, I've been advisor to major, Fortune 500, Fortune 100 companies, helping organizations. But I thought, here is an opportunity to shift from helping organizations to helping a nation. Because I think it's tragic to see all of the resources. Nobody is asking for a handout. They're asking for a hand up. And
exactly.
If you provide them with the tools, they can sustain from there. The resiliency of Jamaicans is undisputed. And the talent and the entrepreneurial insight. You can't go through any community without recognizing that unless you're just blind. I think even a blind person could feel the energy of that. So it's about bringing forward what I said. I have a bench of A players that I've convinced that this is my mission.
Well,
make an impact on this
First thing first, I must say I'm a Garveyite. I'm a Rastafarian and I'm a Garveyite. And Garvey teaches self-reliance. Now, being a member of the UNIA, the president has come to Jamaica. They have access to over 100 restaurants in the New York area. And what they do is they go into these communities and they encourage these farmers to grow, and they buy in bulk, trailer loads at a time, and ship it back to the United States of America. So we have been doing something to ease the pain from some of our farmers. But we need more people to start growing more crops and more people to be able to buy these crops from these farmers, and they can make a living and take care of their family. So if you bring to the table, you're welcome.
That's exactly what we want to do. So I figure I came here with the intention of creating wellness centers and spas and being able to expose people to holistic physicians, some of the finest physicians trained, throughout the world, who are passionate about making sure that people experience wellness. And I can say my exposure to an opportunity to meet Dr. Oliver, again, one of those passionate Jamaican physicians that has the desire to see people. He's a functional medicine physician. So having the interest and desire of seeing people restore their body to its natural state so that it can heal itself. But, when you go through Jamaica, every person in their yard has gardens and vegetables and fruits. It's like you're walking down
I wouldn't say every, because when you go into these inner city communities, there's no place for gardens, just concrete. So we can't say every Jamaican citizen have a garden. They don't. The vast majority of them are not even interested in gardening. As you see, we have a very high crime rate. We've lost last year 1,301 persons to the gun. More people that was killed by the pandemic, which is what, 403 people from March 10th until now. So if you look into these inner city communities where a good bulk of the youths, and remember, we can't have farmers 70, 80, 90, because these are the farmers that is actually producing now. If you go into the rural part of Kingston, you'll see a woman who is 65, 70 years old. She's the one that is tilling the soil and so on. Shouldn't be. We should educate our youngsters so that they have some interest to go into farming, so that when these older folks retire, we can have a conveyor belt that is, getting the crops going and feeding ourselves. Rastafari is one of the few entities that really encourages farming. But does the government facilitate us or even give a listening ear? They prefer to spend $176 billion to fight crime when they should spend $20 billion to prevent crime. See, right. Crime has become a hobby of these folks, and it really is a mess. But I hope with your intervention and your connections and so on, and whatever little bit I can contribute, and I always say a little bit, but I go 110%. But I say a little bit because if every Jamaican just played just that little part, then can you imagine how beautiful a country this is? See, I used to live in the United States of America, have a green card and all that. And I gave that back voluntarily to come back to my country and to see how best I can do for my country. See, in 1961, when John F. Kennedy was inaugurated as president, you know what he said? He said, ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. I'm a Jamaican and I come home to do my little part, as I keep saying, to make my country the biggest, greatest country that I know it is yet.
And I agree with you. And that's why I'm so proud to be here. And I'm so proud to be well received by the Jamaican community and culture. You know, I've been coming back and forth, looking at ways to contribute my talents and expertise. And I have some big opportunities as it relates to helping to influence the entrepreneurial community. So where you're talking about helping to better educate, to add new technologies, but to add resources, right?
Yeah, how can we encourage the younger folks to stop doing this? Because if you go on every street corner, you'll see them 17, 18, 19, 21. And how can we get that mindset? Because we can come with all the resources that we can, right? But if we don't change the cultural mindset of these youngsters, then we're not going to go anywhere. See, crime in Jamaica is a cultural mindset that is contributed by some of our music. It's quote unquote dancehall music of the 2000s and so on, the one that glorify guns and all that. See, we want things to be able to convince a young man that, hey, I'm going to put down the $600,000 rifle and I'm going to go into the field and it's going to be beneficiary to me. How do we encourage them? What kind of plans do you bring to the table to get a youngster into farming?
So you bring the same types of plans that you do for anything else, right? First, it's exposure and information, but it's connecting that to the outcomes. Because if you saw farmers glorified in the same way that you see rappers glorified, that you see all these other folks glorified, then farming becomes in vogue. And it's that opportunity right now, because what I envision, part of the plan is to, when people are coming into the country for wellness, or people thinking about their wellness, there are people in the US, in Canada, in London, in the UK, on the continent of Africa, that are all thinking about how they grow and develop better produce, better food. I think that Jamaica can take a big part of that market, be it selling the soil, be it selling the actual produce, be it selling those things. And then there's also agri-tech. So when you incorporate the technologies tech companies are tech companies. It doesn't matter what the sector is, right? So tech companies begin to increase the outcomes. So when you look at agriculture as a sector, as an industry, there are all types of businesses within that industry besides just the physical farming. Yes, we need actual farmers. But what I want to do is create a paradigm shift about what the sector as a whole offers, and where you can therefore look at whatever you do. So I'm a real estate developer. I'm an expert in venture finance. I'm an expert in creating sustainable businesses. Well, I can apply those various sectors of expertise to agriculture. And I can find development opportunities. I can find entrepreneurial opportunities. I can bring in technology. You know what I'm saying? So it doesn't matter what the business is. It's applying the appropriate tools that you know have worked previously for other sectors. And you bring that same knowing so that it becomes in vogue. It becomes in vogue to get your monthly or weekly subscription box of your Jamaican fruits that you're paying for online. It becomes in vogue. It can become just as popular as everything else that has become popular.
Okay. Well, again, just like anything else, if you take, say, a recording, and it's a lousy recording, and you keep playing it over and over and over again, after a while, you're going to start loving it. So I like that approach. If you come at them, bombard them with the success stories and so on.
Yes.
We can, because it's a mindset, I'm telling you.
Absolutely.
Clean up. We can have, because, see, the government would need somebody like you. Because for the last 25 years, our crime rate has been over 1,000 people being killed. That's what I'm saying. They can talk about growth. They can talk about this. They can talk about whatever they want to talk about. If they do not address that,
right,
has the highest crime rate in the Caribbean, in the Western Hemisphere, and we've been ranked #1 for the last 3 years in a row. A little country with only 2.88 million people. So until we can address that, and I don't doubt your expertise at all, and we welcome you. I'm saying the government should come alongside with you and see how best we can, because if we have a high crime rate, I don't care if we have gold in the soil, it's going to create major problem as it is creating right now.
Absolutely. You can't, I relate back to Maslow hierarchy. Basic needs met. If I can't meet my basic needs, then I'm angry, I'm frustrated, I'm gonna take it out on the next man. And I'm gonna take it out on the man that I can get to. So that's typically the man in my community, right? So we have to get down to that level of detail and influence and provide some solutions at the ground level. You cannot build top down. That's what most people do. They sit up in the ivory tower, they come up with ideas and they try to force it on.
Yeah, but I have to say this though. Yeah, the problem that we have with our youngsters, our future farmers, that's what we have to call them, is the fact that it's not about poverty. I went to school barefooted. I never stole anything from anybody. The problem that we have is not being poor. If you look in Montego Bay, we have some of the richest 14 and 18-year-old in the country. So the problem is not trying to get them a job. The problem is trying to switch this mindset, this cultural mindset that believe in killing. A criminal is more glorified in his community than a hardworking youth who just passed 10 subjects and so on.
Right there, that's it right there. And that's what I'm saying. Listen,
have to work at that.
Kingston, we're saying the same thing.
Yeah.
I'm an entrepreneur. I've been an entrepreneur since I was 19. And contrary to the number that you threw out, I have a 24-year-old son. So let me dispel, let me add some, okay. So now, let's
next door. Next door me.
Okay, so let me put some context for you.
You're very nice, I must say though. Yeah.
So let me tell you then.
Okay.
I grew up, I'm from the San Francisco Bay Area.
Okay.
And as a young person in elementary school, right, junior high school, my mother moved to East Oakland. Mm-hmm. At the time, East Oakland, in certain communities, was the land of drive-bys. There was
Crips
a
and the
drug
Bloods.
den, not Crips
Crips
and
and the
Bloods
Bloods.
in the Bay Area. That was more LA. But
Oh,
Felix
okay.
Mitchell was a known big-time drug dealer in the Bay Area. I remember
Yes.
walking to house parties with rapper Too Short. So just to kind of give you some context for my generation. And in the middle of the community where I grew up was this park called Royal Park. I remember being sitting on the grass one day, and a drive-by is happening, and we're ducking the cars driving by shooting. But in that same community, I was a youth volunteer, and we put together the snack bar that we set up a menu and a business, and we enrolled the drug dealers to be part of our teen club. And guess what? We made money in the snack bar, and then our teen club got to go on trips, camping trips, go to the theater, go to other places. Guess what that started to do? Create a state change. You start exposing people to other things. You start showing them how they can use their talent. And then later, I was part of another program that started in East Oakland that was called a youth entrepreneurial program. Because I had already been in business by the time I came in, yeah, I was a young person, but I was trained, and then I became a trainer, the national spokesperson at 19 years old, going around the country talking about entrepreneurship. But we were focused on the kids who couldn't get a summer job. So we taught them how to perfect their talents and turn those into viable businesses. And then by the time I was 27, I had expanded my own company and created a $250 million backed business. I had the largest Black agency in the world at 27. So when you talk about someone who's worked through, I'm a product of someone, sure. No, did I grow up in the heart of East Oakland? No, I did not. Was I going to be, pregnant teenager, in the midst? No, I was not. But I passed through. And in my pass through, I made a difference by my contributions. And so later when I moved to LA, same thing, my advertising agency. LA had a big thing, the Crips and Bloods, the gangs, and all the graffiti. And I looked at that graffiti and said, you know what? I could get rid of graffiti by just hiring some of the artists as art directors at an ad agency. If they start making $100,000, $200,000 a year, they won't tag your building anymore because now they understand the value of their art on the corporate landscape. So what I'm talking about, Big Stone, is I'm not talking about pie in the sky ideals. I'm talking about basic reality of things that I've already done. These are not plays that I'm making up. These are plays that I've run, and I know they work. And so the second you start glorifying entrepreneurship and you start highlighting the young entrepreneurs who are creating successful businesses, if they got as much screen time and face time as the celebrities, as the rappers, you'd want to follow them.
All right, but you must also bear in mind that, see, I spent almost 30 years in the United States of America, and New York is no Jamaica. I'm telling you, it's rough down here. I've been in the streets of America. I used to hang out I used to make money in the streets of New York. Never got arrested, never been to prison. That's why I was able to look at my wife and say, listen, with the knowledge that I've grasped, I'm coming back to Jamaica to see how best we can help our youths down here. But Jamaica, I'm telling you, it's, I hope your plan works, but because working it in the United States, you'd have to do some alteration in Jamaica.
Oh, absolutely. That's why I'm not solo. So I'm working with locals who are already leading.
First, was that just to raise funding? No, I don't understand.
So the Black in Jamaica event.
No,
yes.
The event that you're having, yes. Is it to raise funding for these?
Yes, yes. What I'm wanting to do is to create a seed fund that will happen so that annually we'll continue to sustain this fund so that farmers have a resource to go to get funding. I'm bringing in heavy equipment. I'm doing deals to bring in farming equipment. as well as expanding that fund to help general entrepreneurs. So it won't be limited to just farmers, but I want to start with the farmers because I think that that's a critical place to start. And I know if I begin with the farmers, then we can get some traction there. And
If you
since I
can get some traction, if you can get some traction in the farming community, you know, get these youngsters, because I'm willing to work to bones, because I want to, at 64 come July, I want to be able to walk in this country with pride and dignity at 70, 75, because this is the greatest country. I mean, no pun intended with United States and other places, but Jamaica is where it's at. And that's why you feel comfortable.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's why I'm in love and I'm coming back. And every time you turn around, I'm on my way back. In fact, we're working on residency because
we're gonna work and change. We're gonna work and do some work and change the mindset of our youths.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And yeah, there's a lot of folks, especially older folks, are saying, man, these kids cannot be tamed. They're animals. And I don't want to, because I always encourage an adult to have a little brother, you know, with a kid. You know what I mean? A kid needs,
right.
Especially most of these gangsters, they're being educated by their own peers. You know, they don't have any models and so on. So I always encourage the older folks, but most of them are scared. And because they don't understand the language of the street, they don't know how to approach these youngsters. So when they approach them, it's like, I'm a figure of authority. Hey, boy, come here. You know what I mean? You understand that these are young men and treat them accordingly. And
absolutely.
You can do it. That's all it is. You doing your own little part. It can work.
Absolutely. It's just, you know, each one, I think that I know my lane. So I'm not the person that's going to be in the heart of the community trying to create the paradigm shift per se, but I'm teamed up with those persons who have the credibility and have the relational equity to stand in those communities, right? And then with what they're doing, then I'm able to add to where they have gaps so that we can then move to the next level. So that's what I'm not here to replace, to take away. I'm here to contribute where there is a desire for contributions, where I have the ability to bring contributions that'll make a difference. And so it's not about me forcing my idea. What I've learned over the course of my career is I always go into the community and let the community teach me. So part of my process is having these kinds of forums, starting these types of conversations, and having people tell me what they want. Tell me what you want, and why can't you get it? Because when I know that, then I can let you know if I have the ability to help you accomplish that. What are the gaps? Then let me see what I can do about filling those gaps. And so that's how this Black in Jamaica, which will be an annual event, along with other programs. I'm working on training programs. I have a whole portfolio of courses that I've been training for over 30 plus years. So I have tons of content. And I always customize it for the specific audience that I'm speaking to. So they're not going to get some cookie cutter stuff. Everything that I deliver here will be Jamaica appropriate for the audience that I'm communicating with.
All right. Well, that sounds great, you know, and I wish you all the best.
And I need you and I need everyone else, because again, I don't come here thinking that I have the answers. I come here to listen and have you tell me what you're looking at, what you need, and then to the degree that I can find those resources, then that's what my goal is to do.
Well, getting into these communities can be a little bit tricky. Not most people have that authority to take you into certain communities. You know that, right? Some
Absolutely, people, which is why I haven't been into a lot of the communities, you know, right? Absolutely.
Some people say they do, but they don't, trust me. Because you find yourself, and I'm not saying this for your own protection, if you find yourself in a particular community, and I don't want to call any names, it can be serious. And especially coming in there with a camera. You know what I mean? People don't know you. There's a spy, the FBI, the CIA, you know, all these that we have to. So we have to have a lot of meetings in going in, meet with the stakeholders, because there's a lot of community leaders that I know personally, some of the top ones that shot call, as we call them, and we can make it happen. That has been my job for the last 25 years. I've educated a lot of youngsters who were former gang members to be stars today. You ever hear from an artist by the name of Nesbeth?
Yes.
Nesbeth is a prodigy. In 1998, he won my talent competition, and his life has not looked back ever since. Turbulence the Future is another son that I grew up. I grew up so many of them. I'm the father of so many children, and it does something to me when I can see my labor being manifested into greatness. And I welcome
Absolutely.
you.
Well, that's exactly what this is all about. So, Big Stone, I thank you so much for taking some time to have this conversation with me. Everyone listening, I put in the chat the website, 420wellnessjamaica.com. That's where you can go and register so that you can support the Black in Jamaica virtual festival, which is happening this weekend. We want you to join in and support us. This is for the benefit of the Jamaican farmers. So make sure you go.
Yeah, I gotta say, first of all, I'm located as Claude Sinclair on Facebook. If you want to send me a request, I'll bump some people off and get you in. I'm also on Instagram at big_stone_4318. big_stone_4318. I'm also a vlogger on YouTube with well over 4,700 videos.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, 4,700. I have documented my life in Jamaica. I've been into many serious gang-infested communities with my camera and was able to document it. So the world can see that at Claude Sinclair YouTube. By the way, am I working on the show?
Yes, you are working on the show.
Did MCK tell you that I'm one of the best MC that Jamaica has to offer?
Don't you know that's exactly what he told me?
I want to take this opportunity and big him up. He's a very, 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 very good friend of mine. I've known him for many years. We're working many trailblazing projects, and I'm honored to be working alongside with him and you, Dr. Audrey.
Well, it's my pleasure. It's my pleasure.
Tomorrow, we invite you to Onyx Gardens tomorrow, where we did a nice wall painting of the community leader, George Pang, and we'll be unveiling it tomorrow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you can come over there and meet some people and meet someone who has been there through all the political turmoils and warfares and so on, to be able to stand up in life and flesh and look at his mural on the wall. Because most people of his caliber never get an opportunity to see their painting on the wall. It's always added after they're passed away. So
absolutely.
Alive, it is indeed an historical moment, and I'm inviting you.
Oh, I receive. I'm looking forward to being there, and I know I'll have Tim Calder in tow, so he was talking about it, so he'll be there. So yes, we will be there. We're excited. We're so honored that you extended the invitation and we accepted right away.
George Pang, as the world might know, he's an ace record producer. Produced some of the biggest songs with Frankie Paul. Most of his hits were produced by Powerhouse label, which is George. Most of Half Pint, major songs are produced by Powerhouse. Little John, Junior Reid, Tristan Palmer. He has produced the best of the best. So he deserved that spot on the wall. He's a great, great human being. And he's also the coach for the Onyx Garden football team. So he wears many hats. A great guy for you to meet and take pictures with. So tomorrow.
So I'm excited and I'm looking forward to that. Now, are there any additional contact details that I should share with the audience here so that they could follow that program as well? Will it be?
Everything will be documented. We're not streaming it, right?
Okay.
We documented, and you can go to my YouTube page and take a look, right?
Perfect.
But now I'm involved with children. There's a story I just did. I sent you a link. I went all the way to Negril about this beautiful little girl. Her name is Ariel Haley Brown. She lost both her parents. She's only 5 years old. She lost her mom to a car accident, and her dad died tragically. So she's an orphan. So I did a story. I went on Real Helping Hands. It's a crowdfunding platform that caters to the Caribbean. You don't have to have a social security number to use this crowdfunding platform. So I want you to go out there and help these young children, you know, and do the
And
best.
what do you have? Tell me the platform again where we can go.
The platform is realhelpinghands.com. www.realhelpinghands.com. The name of the little girl is Ariane, Arianna, Ariana Haley, Hailey, Brown, Brown. She's in dire need. It's a great story. You can see the story. I covered it in its entirety, and I'm just inviting you to love this beautiful little girl. She's such a heartbeat, you know.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for sharing those additional points of details. I put it on the chat so that people can follow and receive that information. Thank you for blessing us.
Yeah, in parting, I must say, you're not just a beautiful Black woman, but you're articulate, you're intelligent, and you flow like a genie. What can I say? It was nice talking to you. I had a ball. Thank you for having me.
My honor. Thank you so much. All right, everyone. This is just another one of those precursors to Dr. Money Live. You know the show is coming. We'll have these types of opportunities. We'll be featuring and highlighting a number of Jamaican farmers and entrepreneurs. So stay tuned. Continue to look out for Dr. Money Live. I promise we won't disappoint you. Signing off. Thank you again.
All right.